The number one reason that I started this podcast was recognizing that it's all a story. And if we're unaware of that story, that's our life. That is what life is going to be. But when we're able to break out of that story, we're change our perception. Like you say, there's no one-sided event. There's no one-sided thing that we get from things. There's always positive, there's always negative. And recognizing that and being able to actualize that in our life, it can happen so quick. And it happens so quick for me. You have written 40 plus books, like 200 plus manuals and textbooks, and like you've written a lot and learned so much. What has taught you the most about yourself, whether it was something that you learned or something that you wrote?
Well, there's many things. I don't know if there's one, but if you said the most, I'd say probably an exercise that I did 40 years ago. I noticed that whatever I was saying to others was partly uh, boomeranging and really meant for me.
Mhm.
I would say, "Did you hear that?" And I go, "I need to hear that." And I kept thinking about what I was saying to other people, and I realized, God, that's all about me too. And then I realized that when I was judging other people, I had that too. So I decided instead of waiting for me to have emotional reactions by judging other people, I thought I'd do a preemptive strike by going to the Oxford English Dictionary, which is the largest dictionary I could find, and underline every positive, every negative behavioral trait I could find. So anything to do with it, something you could judge in somebody and look up to or down on, I underlined it in the dictionary. And out to the side in that little margin, I wrote the name of the individual who displays that to the highest degree that I knew. So let's say inconsiderate or arrogant or whatever it be. I write out who do I know that's most arrogant and who do I know that's most inconsiderate in my life. I was, this was 40 years ago, so I was 30 about the time. And then I went through the dictionary, and one by one, I found 4,628 different individual traits that I underlined. And I wrote these out to the side, the names. And then I went inside myself and I asked, all right, John, go to a moment where and when you perceive yourself displaying or demonstrating this same specific trait, action, or inaction. Um, and where did you do it? When did you do it? Who did you do it to? And who perceived you doing it? Now, I just basically wanted to know where I did the same thing. Because in Romans 2, in the biblical New Testament, it said, beware of judging other people, because whatever you judge, you do the same thing. So I went and I found every one of those traits inside me. And I realized that I was both nice and mean and kind and cruel and honest and dishonest and considerate and inconsiderate and forthright and hesitant. And I had every possible trait I had in different moments in my life. And what that did is it made me realize that whatever I see in others is inside me, and whatever I judge in others is I'm judging in me. And that was a major breakthrough for me to realize that ultimately each of these traits are neither positive nor negative. And they're not something you're going to gain or lose. They're inherent inside you, but the hierarchy of your values dictate the form in which they're expressed. And when I realized that, I realized I don't need to self-improve. I don't need to get rid of something in my life. People are trying to get rid of half their life to love themselves, and they don't need to gain something. It's already there. It's just in a form that they're not seeing, and they're too proud or too humble to admit that they have it when they see it in others, and they react with admiration or despise to others because they're not honoring it in themselves. So that exercise, which took a long time, was one great exercise on reflective awareness, because the highest level of awareness is reflective awareness, not reflexive awareness. Most people live in reflexive awareness, and they reflex and react before they think, instead of reflective awareness where they think before they react. And that was a very useful tool. One of the most significant contributions in the development of what I'm doing today, and also helping me love and appreciate people regardless of what they've done.